Magic has had an eventful 6 months, hasn't it? Eternal Masters, Eldritch Moon, From the Vault, something, not that anyone remembers that. Conspiracy Take the Crown, Kaladesh, Commander 2016, so much has happened. This flurry of announcements and releases gets everyone's attention, and believe it or not, buried beneath all that hype is rotation. Of course, everyone pays attention to what's entering Standard, but no one thinks about what's leaving Standard, so naturally everything tanks in price. I mean, everything. In this video, we're going to take a serious look at Dragons of Tarkir and Magic Origins financially now that they've rotated out of Standard. If you've been waiting for bargain prices on former staples in these sets, now might be the right time. For this video, we'll be using graphs from MTGstocks.com and prices from TCGplayer.com. Also, fun, for each card we talk about, I'll post a little annotation for a few seconds if you want to buy it and help the channel. Alright, enough blabbering, let's get into it. We'll begin with Dragons of Tarkir. As far as constructed playability goes, looking forward we have to pay attention to trends in Modern. That's where Dragons of Tarkir saw the most success outside of Standard. Collected Company is the obvious first target. Sitting anywhere from $15 to $25 for the first half of the year, Collected Company dominated Standard. It really wasn't even close. Now beyond Standard, Collected Company variants of all kinds have shown up in Modern. The cards in Elf Shells, Obzan Company has its own deck, some Zoo variants, lots of stuff. Now that the card is rotated, Company has dropped like a sack of rocks, already under $10. Just because it rotated out of Standard doesn't mean it's useless in Modern. Collected Company is basically bottoming out. If you need the card, it's looking real good. Besides just Collected Company, both Kolaghan's Command and Atarka's Command have made splashes in Modern. Atarka's Command is a staple in Naya burn decks. So much so that the deck will guarantee this card's value over the long term as long as it continues to splash green. Hovering above $10 since Battle for Zendikar released, rotation has relatively demolished the price. Now around $5, Atarka's Command is absolutely an affordable staple for Modern. While some cards are still declining in price, I think Atarka's Command is at its bottoming out point. If you need the command, the floodgates are open. Kolaghan's Command is basically a mirror to Atarka's Command. Played in Jund, Grixis, and various other red-black strategies in Modern, the command is a sideboard staple at worst. Peaking at $20 back in April, the command has been dropping steadily since, and now sits comfortably around $5, similar to Atarka's Command. The card's too playable to keep dropping. Another staple that if you need it for Modern, you're safe to pick it up now. I can't imagine it getting that much cheaper at this point. Dragons of Tarkir had a respectable effect on Modern, but there's no denying its huge impact on Commander. We'll begin with one of the most popular Commander cards in the entire format right now, Sidisi Undead Vizier. Let me be clear. In a few years, this card is not going to be under $3. It isn't. This is one of the most popular black cards in the entire format. She's a popular commander herself, and right now she's affordable. She's been affordable because Dragons has been in print and in Standard, so no one was paying attention. But now, Sidisi's on clearance pricing. There's no reason not to get her if you need her, especially if you're into foil cards. Around $6 for foils, come on. That's stupid for a popular legendary creature in Commander. If you're going to buy a single card from Dragons of Tarkir, make it Sidisi Undead Vizier. Amazing. Now, Sidisi is the best card to buy from Dragons of Tarkir, but it doesn't mean that there aren't other Commander staples. This is a set that had an entire cycle of Elder Dragons, so you can bet that they're all on the buy now list. Not even as commanders, but as part of the 99, each Dragonlord sees a non-zero amount of play. Dragonlord Ojutai and Atarka were the most expensive over the course of their time in Standard, and now both are under $5, along with the rest of the Dragonlords. I expect that their prices will drop a tiny bit more over the coming months since they don't see any significant constructed play, but we're still talking about a pretty affordable situation right now, especially if you enjoy foils. Foil mythics tend to trend up pretty quickly over time. Dragonlords will do that, and right now most are budget. The other Dragons of Tarkir cards I'm looking at are Narset Transcendent and Shaman of Forgotten Ways. I won't go too deeply into these, but they're both popular in Commander. Narset is popular in, well, Narset, some Aloro strategies, and a lot more. And while she's never demanded a crazy price tag, her value was cut in half with rotation, and she's now a little above $6. Considering how she was able to retain $10 value in a Standard format she wasn't played in, yeah, $6 is good. Shaman of Forgotten Ways is quickly growing in popularity in Animar strategies and Xenagos crazy huge decks, among others. Being mono-green helps with that. Sitting around $2.50 with flows around $6 is a great deal for this eventual Commander commodity. Having Biorhythm on a stick and that kind of ramp is something Commander players will never ignore. Mark my words, in a few years, this is a $10 card easily, no question. Moving on to Magic Origins, this set is unlike most others when it comes to Eternal Construct and Impact. Instead of impacting Modern or Legacy, Magic Origins had the most impact on Vintage. Not saying the set didn't put cards into Modern, but you get what I mean. The two constructed cards we need to pay attention to here are Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, and Hangerback Walker. Jace was infamous in Standard for being around $80, which is just absurd. But since rotation was even talked about, the card plummeted to a cool $25, and it's still dropping. This is another time when I have to be clear. Jace, Vryn's Prodigy is never going to be a $10 card. That will never happen in the history of this card ever. It's just not possible. The card sees too much play in Vintage, and to a lesser extent Legacy, to even allow the price to get below $15. If you need Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, if you really need it, I wouldn't risk waiting too much longer. You have a good thing with this Eternal card. You may have a few more dollars to save in the next month or so, but you're playing with fire. Hangerback Walker is a much less stressful situation. Where Jace is played pretty much everywhere, Hangerback Walker really only impacts Vintage a little bit, seeing most of its play in Modern. Bottoming out at $2 right now, the card is a bargain for its power. It's never going to be a $20 card, I don't think, but it could get back to $5 or $7 over time. The Masterpiece doesn't matter at all, by the way. Those don't impact prices, so don't worry about that. Grab your walkers while they're outrageously cheap. Before I forget, an honorable mention for constructed playable cards in Origins goes to the Painlands. Never really spiking too high, the enemy-colored Painlands are played in Modern. They're great 2-color mana sources that enter the battlefield untapped. There's a lot of value in that, and while they have been printed 5 times, they retain eternal value. They're all super cheap right now and definitely worthy of a buy if you need them for Modern or Commander. Alright, last topic, Magic Origins in Commander. Dragons Atarka here did some great things for Commander, but Magic Origins knocked it out of the park. Staples upon staples upon staples. Above anything else in Magic Origins for Commander, Nissa Vastwood Seer is a great buy right now. The graphs can't keep up, but you can get Nearman copies for $6 each. The card has been trending downward for 2 months now, but it just recently plateaued. I wouldn't be surprised if this is where we see Nissa settle. At $6, this is a bargain for sure. Hugely popular commander, if not a commander included in thousands of other decks, can basically go into most any green deck to be honest. Super versatile, mythic rare, Planeswalker. Has all the makings of an expensive card in the next few years. Don't let that happen to you. $6 is a safe buy. Along the same lines, but not to the same extent as Nissa, is Liliana Heretical Healer. At $7 right now, Liliana has been dropping in price since mid-May. The rotation of Rally the Ancestors really destroyed her value, which is perfect for another rotation, even more of a hit. What was once a $30 card is now a budget Planeswalker. Same reasons as Nissa. If you need her, you should get her. Her price seems to be evening out. I wouldn't expect her to go below $6 to $7 ever, and I would expect a steady increase over the next few years. Besides those 2 baby walkers, I find a few cards particularly interesting from the set, and they're all mythic rares, which is sometimes how these things go. Alhamrit's Archive is where we're going to start because something interesting is happening here. The card just rotated, and most cards are supposed to go down in value, but the Archive is ticking up very slowly. It isn't a huge jump or anything, just a few cents over the course of the last few weeks, but it's what this represents. This is the first card we're talking about where this is happening. Played in thousands of decks, the Archive is a staple in Alora's strategies, which is all you really need to know, I guess. The Archive is going to be one of those sneaky cards that jumps in value without you knowing it. Mark my words, goodbye right now. The other mythic rares I think should be on your radar are Archangel of Ties, Woodland Bellower, and Pyromancer's Goggles. Each of these lends itself really well to what its color usually does. The Archangel is a prison card, and I shouldn't have to tell you how valuable those are. Prison decks tend to be expensive, and a Mythic Angel with a prison ability on here isn't going to be cheap in a few years. Woodland Bellower is a mono-green beast, a giant one, that searches your library for a green creature card at 3 mana or less, which means Reclamation Sage, Eternal Witness, Courser of Krufix, you see what I mean? And Pyromancer's Goggles is the most red artifact ever. Mizzix, Melek, come on, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. These are all great mythics, and they're all a couple of dollars at most right now. They should definitely be on your radar. Okay, last section this time, I promise. I couldn't end the video without telling you all to get Dark Petition and Sword of the Animist. These aren't going to be $20 cards anytime soon, but they are going to uptick very slowly for the foreseeable future. We're talking about two of the most popular commander cards from the set overall. It's a good thing they're rare and not mythic, just another few cards to keep in mind. And with that, we end another financial review. What do you think? Do any of these cards' prices shock you? Forget about post-rotation cards too? It's okay. I probably would have as well if it weren't for the need to, make this video. Anyways, any post-rotation cards you're eyeing, any sweet deals you want to let us know about, leave them in the comments. We're all looking to play Magic on the cheap, so hook a community up. Hope you enjoyed this financial video, and if you did, remember to hit that like button. Helps out a lot. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
What?